Hello everyone, welcome back to Minecraft. Today we're going to be checking out the Jigsaw block, which is a really interesting block and it's really powerful, but it does take some learning to use. So today I'm going to teach you in a very simple way how this block works. And as you can see, this is the Jigsaw block right here, and you can open it up and it's got a few different fields which are very cryptic if you do not know what's going on. So today I'm going to explain all of this. Let's get started. So what Jigsaw blocks are used for is for structures. So I'm going to spawn in a structure from vanilla that uses Jigsaw blocks. And as we can see right here, this is the village, plains, streets / straight 01 path right here. And it's got a couple of Jigsaw blocks in a few different places. You'll notice 2 Jigsaw blocks on the ends of the paths. And this is where they connect to the other paths in the village. So in essence, Jigsaw blocks define where other structures can be placed relative to a certain structure. So for this structure, another path could be placed at this Jigsaw block. And what determines which path can be placed is this target pool right here. It says Minecraft village / plains / streets. So it's going to look in the Minecraft village / plains / streets target pool to determine what street to place at the end right here. And then it's going to look, and right here it says target name, it's going to look for a Jigsaw block with this target name, Minecraft Street, on the other structure, and it's going to try and line those up so that the other structure's Jigsaw block is pointing in to this Jigsaw block. And the same for these structure blocks right here. They, even though they're facing upwards, they still take whatever target pool and they place that structure so that the Jigsaw block on the target pool faces into this Jigsaw block right here. And that is a basic level overview of how these work. Now let's dig a little bit deeper into how these work and let's actually go about creating our own structure. So we're going to start very simple, and I'm going to make a brick house. How about out of mud bricks? All right, we've got a simple little house here. It's obviously not much at all. It's just a simple box of mud bricks, but it serves the purpose of being a house for our demonstration. So let's get a structure block. And if you watched the last video, you'll understand how these work. We just need to place a corner at each end, and we're going to give it a name, for example, house. For both of these corners, we've got them set up. Then let's place our main structure block, give it the same name, set it to save. We'll make sure we've got our size correct, and we do. Now before we hit save on this structure, we're going to actually add a Jigsaw block. And for this house, we're going to give it a porch. So here's what, for example, our porch could maybe look like. It might look like this. We might get a fence, a jungle fence, and maybe some slabs over here. This might be what our porch looks like, but we're going to erase this for now because we're going to build this separately as its own structure so that we can use jigsaws. So let's place our structure block back. And what we'll do is we'll place our jigsaw block like this. So the way it's going to work is we're going to have a jigsaw block there, and we're going to have a jigsaw block here on our porch, essentially, so that the porch jigsaw block will line up with the house jigsaw block. And this we've got turns into right here. Turns into defines what block this jigsaw block will turn into once it generates. So for Minecraft Air, it'll simply disappear. But if we wanted to maybe embed it into something, like if we put it down here, for example, then we could maybe set this to Minecraft Mud Bricks. But we will leave this up here for simplicity. And we need to configure this jigsaw block. So we'll say target pool. Instead of Minecraft empty, we'll say struct house / porch. And this just says that we're going to look in the struct data pack, which we're going to create a data pack in a second called struct. And it's going to look in the house subfolder, and it's going to look for the porch target pool. Then for name, this is sort of the name of the connection between two jigsaw blocks. And most of the time, you'll actually set name and target name to be the same. So for this, we'll say struct porch, as well as for the name. And now let's go ahead and save this structure. Next, we're going to build our porch. It's the same porch that I built earlier. You can go up and down this porch as well. And we'll place our jigsaw block right here. Now for this one, we'll also want to configure this. We do not need to define a target pool since we're going to be generating the house first, and the house is going to be generating a porch onto it using this jigsaw block. So that one needs to define a target pool since it's going to need to know what pool to generate from. It's going to generate from the porch pool, but this one doesn't need a pool because it's not going to ever generate anything. It's only going to be generated. Because it's going to be generated, it needs a name. We'll say struct porch, and it's important that this lines up with the one you want it to connect to. So let's go ahead and set up our structure blocks. You can see I'm naming him porch 1. That's because, well, we might add a few more porches later on, but this should be good. We'll detect the size and save. Now that we've got our two structures defined, it's time to hop into VS Code and create our data pack. So first I'm going to go in the chat and type /data pack create struct, and I'll give it a description. Now let's open this folder in VS Code. Here's our world folder, data packs struct. All right, now in VS Code, you can see we've got our data folder, our pack.mc meta defined for us by our game. And so let's go ahead inside data, create our namespace folder, and we'll go /structure. This is where we're going to put those structures that we defined in the game. So let's go ahead and open up our world folder. Here we are. And if we go to generated Minecraft structures, you can see house and porch 1. Those are the files we generated using structure blocks. So let's go ahead and drag those into this structure folder. And I have a VS Code extension that allows me to view these in game. This is a really cool extension and honestly a must-have if you're doing work like this with data packs. So I will leave a link to that extension down in the description. It is created by Misode. So you can see we've got our porch 1 and our house structures defined. And now inside of our namespace folder, let's create a new folder called worldgen/structure. And in there, we will put our structure definition files. This is how we're actually going to be able to place this structure into the game. So I'll create a new file called house.json, and I'll create a map with a type of Minecraft Jigsaw. And if you saw my previous video, this may be a little bit familiar to you, but we're going to set biomes to Minecraft plains. We aren't actually generating this structure yet, so it doesn't matter what biomes we use, but for now, we will put biomes to Minecraft plains. Step. Again, if you watched my last video, you'll understand these. I'm going to set this to surface structures. Spawn overrides can be empty. Max distance from center, we'll do 80. Size, we'll do 2. Start height, we'll set to an absolute of 1. We want this to be 1 above the ground because we're going to project start to height map of world surface. We're going to set use expansion hack to false. And finally, we'll set start pool to struct house/house. And this is because we're going to create a house folder inside of our template pools directory. So inside of worldgen, we'll create template pool and we'll create house. This is where we're going to store all of the template pools for our house because of course we will be defining more than one jigsaw structure in this video. Now I'm going to create a new file called house.json. This is what we defined right here in the start pool. And this will simply have a fallback of Minecraft empty. You should recognize this from the previous video as well. Elements will be a list, weight 1 element with a element type of single pool element. A location, this is where we reference what structure MBT file we're going to use. This is going to be struct house. And in fact, I'm actually going to move these into a subdirectory as well called house.mbt porch1. So we'll actually say struct house/house. Then we just need our projection to be rigid, our processors to be empty, and that is our house template pool all defined. Now there is one other template pool we have to define. If we look in our house, you can see our jigsaw block here. We've defined the pool to be struct house/porch. Well, we need to define that template pool. So we'll say house/porch.json, and we'll create a new template pool. Again, a fallback of Minecraft empty elements weight of 1 element type single pool element location house/porch1. We'll do a rigid projection, and we will have no processors. And now our error is gone. We've got this structure that's going to be used to start generating our house. And then we've got this house pool, which is going to be used by the structure, and this porch pool, which is going to be used by the jigsaw block in the house. And we should be all good. We've got some experimental features going on, so we'll save and quit and log back in. And now if I head over here a little bit, I'm actually going to go a little bit far away, and I'm going to type /place structure struct house. And when I place that, you can see we've got our house right here, and it's taken the house bit and combined it with the porch bit. And look, our jigsaw blocks are completely gone. Now, as promised, let's fly back over here, and we're going to define some more porch types. So let's go ahead and grab our mud bricks, and I'm just going to come over here. And maybe we have a porch that is like this. Get ourselves some stairs for there. And so this is a porch. We'll call this porch 2. And of course, we don't want to forget our jigsaw block right here. No target pool. The only thing is the name is going to have to be struct porch. Now we can save this porch as porch 2. And I'm going to quickly create yet another porch. Give it a jigsaw block with a name of struct porch. And for this one, you can see this fence connects to this jigsaw block, and it's going to be replaced by Minecraft Air. Well, when Minecraft replaces this, it does not actually update these surrounding blocks. So what we need to do is get a debug stick, and we need to find the property that turns that off. So as you can see, the fence no longer connects to the jigsaw block. We should be good to go because we can just place our structure blocks here. Porch 3, porch 3. Then we'll give this a save. And now we've got 3 porches that we can use for our house. So let's go out of Minecraft. Let's hop back into VS Code. And now in our structures folder, we can see porch 2 and porch 3 have been added. We'll drag them into VS Code. And we've got our second porch as well as our third porch. Now we're not actually done because we need to add them to our template pools. For porch.json, I'm just going to copy this and paste it 2 more times. Change this from porch 1 to porch 2, and this one to porch 3. So we'll have 3 single pool elements, and what Minecraft does, again, if you remember from the last video, it will pick a random one of these elements to place when this pool is called. And of course, it will factor these weight keys in as well. And if you're enjoying this video so far, please leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Now that we've done that, let's go back into Minecraft, reload the world, and back over here, we have to go into a new chunk and place the structure again. As you can see, it decided to generate over here this time, and we've got the original porch design. That's okay. Let's go over here. And now, look, we've got our different porch design. The house is exactly the same. We never built this entire structure all together. we simply defined a jigsaw block to attach this porch to. Let's try over here. That gave us our original porch again. That gave us our second porch. I'm trying to get the third porch, and here we are. This is the third porch. This is a little bit of an interesting porch, to be honest, but it is what it is. And this is pretty neat. Every time we place this structure manually, or if we defined a structure set to place it in the world at world generation, it would place a random porch on every structure. Now, we're not done with this, because what if we wanted to define a different type of house? So I'm going to go ahead and build up another house. There we go. That's looking pretty nice in my opinion. And of course, we want our porch to be attached. One cool trick with command blocks, so we don't have to re-enter all this information, is if you press Control and middle click on this block, it will give you a jigsaw block with the same NBT data as this. And so when we place this one down, it will have the same values already entered into it for us. Of course, you could enter in all of these manually. Maybe you're on a laptop that doesn't have middle click. Either way, it's just a little bit faster to do it this way. But now let's go ahead and define our structure blocks. We'll say house 2, and we'll save this as house 2. So now in our structures folder, we've got house 2. Let's drag this into our folder right here and make sure everything is correct. Let's go down, and we do need to add this to our template pool here. We can just add this to our house template pool. Again, this is the one that is placed to start when we generate the structure. And so we'll just copy this and we'll say house 2. And just for consistency, I'm going to rename this to house 1, both there and in this file. And with that, that should actually be all we need to do to have a random house generated every time. Let's save and reload. Look, this one generated the brand new house, and it's got this second porch option that we have. And let's look over here and see what happens. We've got the same thing here. This one has the old house with the second porch. And as you can see, it's completely random each time which house will be generated. And it's pretty fun to go around and look and see what houses are generated and see the different combinations we've got. We've got this one with the third porch and the second house. And just by defining 3 porches and 2 houses, we've created a bunch of combinations of different houses and porches that we can have in our world. And of course, we could place these with structures with the /place command, or if we added these to a structure set, which we'll probably look at later on in the video, then these will generate around the world in all their glory with different combinations. Next, we're going to look at something that's really interesting. We're going to create a new porch. I've already built it right here. And this one is, as you can see, a little bit bigger, and that's because we're going to place a special feature in the middle. And when I say feature, I mean feature, because we're going to use a feature pool element in our template pool to place an actual oak tree right here in the middle of the porch. Now for this jigsaw block, we want our target pool to be struct house/tree, and our target name will be Minecraft bottom. And I'll explain why it's Minecraft bottom in a second, but for now, just set it to Minecraft bottom. Now I'm going to create a new file in our template pool /house named tree.json, and this with a fallback of Minecraft empty. We'll have an element with an element type of feature pool element. Then we just select feature, Minecraft, for example, fancy oak checked. This is the feature that places a fancy oak tree. Now let's say projection rigid, and I'll explain to you why we set this jigsaw block, why we set this middle jigsaw block to have a target of Minecraft bottom. That's because when we use this element type of feature pool element, it places the feature as if it has a jigsaw block on the bottom facing down with the name Minecraft bottom. And so that's why we need this target to say Minecraft bottom, because we want it to match up with a jigsaw block with a name of Minecraft bottom. Now all we have left to do is add this to our porch template pool. we'll just paste this and name this porch 4. And then for your structure, make sure your size is at least 2. That way it will generate 2 layers deep when we place this structure. If you have this to 1, it will only place the porch and then it will stop. It will not be able to place the tree. Back in Minecraft, let's run off in the distance and place some more houses. And here we go. Finally, we've got our house with the tree out in front. As you can see, we've got that dirt underneath because we set the jigsaw block to turn into a dirt block once it generated. And of course, every time this generates, this would be a different fancy oak tree. So for example, here's another generation of this house. And we've got a much bigger tree this time. But it generates differently because it's simply generating an existing placed feature in Minecraft. And if you don't understand placed features, that's okay, but I've got a video about that if you want to check that out. I'll put a link in the cards right now. All right, we are going to now start on our second structure in this video. And what we're going to do is build a village out of pale oak and cherry blocks. So I have already built out most of the components of this village, and I will just show them off to you real quick. We've got 3 different types of houses. We've got a few mini features right here. And of course, we've got our paths. We've got 2 straight paths, 2 connectors. These are curved connectors. This is a crossroads. Now, what we're going to do now is put jigsaw blocks onto all of these structures. And then we will go ahead and save them each as their own structures, and we'll get them into our data pack. So let's grab a jigsaw block, and let's start here at the crossroads. What we'll do is we will set these jigsaw blocks up. This is where the paths are going to connect. So we will say target pool struct village / path, and we will name this struct path and give it a target name that is the same. This one's going to turn into air, and let's hit done and copy this one all the way around. So what it's going to do is connect to other struct path jigsaw blocks. And so let's go ahead and define those over here, as well as on this corner piece. And so we're just going to add these everywhere that the paths are going to connect. So we've got them on our straight pieces as well. And now we're actually all done with these paths. Now, one thing we do need to do before we add our structure blocks is add our structure voids. We're just going to pop these in here because these paths are going to be going into the ground. We don't want to have air gaps in these corners right here. Same thing for these corner pieces. And the straight pieces are rectangular, so they do not need any. Now I'm just going to quickly go ahead and add these structure blocks. I'm going to put them in the struct village folder so that we can find them more easily. This one's going to be a crossroads. Okay, and I've got all our path pieces defined and saved. Now let's look at our houses and our features right here, and we want them to generate right off of these paths. So for example, if we're walking to the path, we want the house to be right here, or a feature to be right over here, something like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a jigsaw block, and I'm going to put it facing that way. And again, I'm going to put another one, and I'm going to put a couple over on this side over here. And these are all going to target the pool struct village / house. And we will say target name of struct front door. I'm actually going to shift these over by 1 just for the symmetry of it. And I'll make sure to put them over here on this path as well. Now I will resave these structures. They are updated with their jigsaw blocks. And now we can add matching jigsaw blocks for these other features right here. And for these features, I don't necessarily want them to be right next to the road. So I will go ahead and leave a gap of air right there. And for these, we're going to set the target pool to Minecraft empty, because these will never be generating anything, as well as the target name. The only thing we'll set is the name, which will be struct front door. And I will go ahead and copy this one onto all of these other structures. Now I'll go ahead and add our structure blocks. Okay, I've got all of these saved as the wall feature, bell feature, leaf pile feature, and flower bed feature. Now it's time to move on to the houses. For this house, we actually need to replace the stairs with our jigsaw block right here. And the problem with that is that our stairs actually have a specific orientation. So let's look on our F3 screen, and we can see that these stairs are facing south. So we need to remember that. And when we place down our jigsaw block, and what we need to do is set turns into to Minecraft quartz stairs with facing set to south. For this one, it's a little bit more simple. We can just add it as is, and then we can have it turn into Minecraft air. And this one, we also need to replace with quartz stairs facing south. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop in our structure blocks. And when we get to this one, we actually do need to do something a little different. We need to pull out our structure voids because we've got this floor that is actually underneath the ground. So let's go ahead and dig a little hole around this. And so we need to give this structure room at the bottom so that it will leave existing blocks alone. And now we should be all good to go. It doesn't look as good now that it's not buried underground, but that's okay. It will be buried in the final product. And with that, all of our structures are now boxed off and ready to go. If we look in our generated /struct/structures/village folder, here are all the structures that we just defined. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new subfolder in our structure folder called village. And I am going to drag all of these in there, just like so. If we go ahead and give these a preview, we can see we've got our, we got our jigsaw block right here, as well as our feature. We've got our corners, we've got our crossroads, our leaf pile, everything is in order. So let's go ahead and create a new folder in template pool called village. And we do need to make sure that we create our correct template pools. If we check out our straight roads, we'll see we need a pool struct village/house. So we will create a house pool. And we've defined a million of these, so I won't go into too much detail. We're just going to simply define a few single pool elements, house 1, house 2, and house 3. And if we go back and look at our straight road right here, we can see we also need a struct village/path. And so let's go down and create a new one called path.json. And I'm actually going to move all of these paths into a subfolder of village called paths. So corner 1, corner 2, crossroads, straight 1, straight 2. That's just going to help clean things up a little bit. And for our paths, what we can actually do is set this to terrain matching. This is the first time we've set this value for projection, but it is definitely what it is intended for, as vanilla villages use terrain matching on their paths. So why don't we do that as well? It will just make things a lot better. We will be able to generate our village on variable terrain. And as you can see, we've got straight 1, straight 2, crossroads, corner 1, and corner 2. These are all of our path elements. And so now we've got two template pools defined in village. We've got house and path. The final thing we need is a structure definition. So we will say village.json, and we will define a type of Minecraft jigsaw. All right, and I have defined our village structure JSON. I'm just going to go over a few things of interest. We've got our start height map of world surface, and then we are setting this start height offset to 0. That means that the blocks are going to intersect the ground. That's exactly what we want for our paths because we are starting with a path. So it's going to pick a random path at the beginning to start with, and then it will go and generate from there. And now for our size, I've set this to 6 That's because vanilla villages have theirs set to 6. Of course, you can absolutely play with this value and see what size gets you the best results for your village. But with that, let's hop back into the game and reload our world. And for this, I'm going to fly quite far away because I do not want to mess up anything that we already have going on. But I'm going to /place structure struct village. And here we go. We've got our village exactly how we'd expect. It looks a lot like a normal Minecraft vanilla village. And if we hop down here, we can walk around and we'll see our lovely houses that we defined. Of course, they all have beautiful interiors as well. I neglected to show you that earlier. But this is an absolutely beautiful village that we defined just using a data pack. Let's go ahead and generate another one all the way over here. Now this one created a little bit more of a mess of crossroads and paths, but you can see at least over here it generated a nice little path with a few houses on it. You can see our house did correctly embed itself into the ground and surround itself with the existing grass blocks just because we had those structure voids there. Let's try another one, shall we? Now, you know what I forgot to do is actually put in our miscellaneous features into this house template pool. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so I've added after house 3, wall feature, bell feature, leaf fowl feature, and flower bed feature. What I do want to do though is I want the houses to generate more often. So I'm going to give each of the houses a weight of 2. So in total, the houses have a total weight of 6, whereas these features only have a total weight of 4. So the houses should generate more often than the features. Let's try that again. Our village looked good, just wait until after we have our features. And here is our new village. This one's kind of small, but as you can see, it did generate several different features. It generated us a nice house, as well as a little flower bed, a wall, a leaf pile, etc. Here is us another village, and these extra features really add a lot to our village. But we can take a stroll through our village and we can see our different features in our different houses. Alright, finally, for completeness of this tutorial, let's go ahead and set up a structure set. We went over how to do structure sets in a previous video as well, but we'll go ahead and check this out again. Will be a list of structures with weights. Weight will be 1, structure will be village, and then we've got our placement. We'll have a random spread placement with a separation of at least 5 chunks and a spacing of about 10. After we define our salt, we are good to go. So what I'm going to do is hop into Minecraft and save and quit this world. Then I'm going to create a new world. It's going to be a single biome world, and I'm going to set this to plains. And I'm going to go into data packs and open my temporary pack folder. Then I'm also going to go into my data packs for my other world and copy over my data pack that I created into my new world. Then I will move that data pack into the selected category and create my new world. So now everything is plains, and we should see our village generating. Now this is interesting for a first generation because, well, it's on the water, but this is nice, I guess. But we can see this part that's not on the water. We can see our terrain matching projection is working nicely. It's matching the terrain quite well. Let's walk over here. Oh, we've got some more water villages. Here's one that's not at least entirely on the water. We've got some houses defined right up here. And our terrain matching is matching the terrain pretty well. Of course, for some reason, all our villages seem to be mostly in the water. Here's one that doesn't look like it's in the water at all. Oh, look, would you look at that? It is in the water some still. Okay, I think I have found one that is not on the water. Look at this. A village that is not floating on water. It is floating on air, which it's really interesting. why it does this. And I frankly have no clue why there are so many villages on the water. Some of them are even just completely floating on the water, whereas there are not so many. Like, I guess there are a few. We've got some right here that's not on the water. And we've got one all the way off in the distance. This one's pretty neat, actually. It's on this mountainside right here, and the terrain matching makes it look pretty cool on the side of this mountain. This is really cool. We've added our own custom village to the game. And you know what? Now that I think of it, I can think of one property that would be causing maybe this floating of the village houses at least, and maybe the fact that they're generating on the water. Let's hop into our structure file here, and let's define terrain adaptation. And we will set this to beard thin. And for our beard thin, we can't have more than 116 as our max distance from center, but that's okay. We will save that, and I will go through this process again. I will create a new custom villages world. And for our data packs, I will copy it over again, and we'll create the new world. Aha! This time, it's looking a lot more promising. This beard thin terrain adaptation seems to be building up the terrain around the structures. Here's another village. And this one looks like it was supposed to be generated on top of the water, but this beard thin terrain adaptation built up the terrain around it. We can even see this on this vanilla village, how it built up the terrain around it as well, just like it's doing for our village right here. So that actually is the key for not having it generate on top of water. At least it creates these floating islands on top of water when it does generate. In vanilla, this is controlled by biomes. Of course, you don't see random villages just floating out in the middle of the ocean. Well, that's because this ocean is a Minecraft Plains ocean. As we can see, we're still in Minecraft Plains, even though this is an ocean. In a regular Minecraft world, you would only get this in biomes that are mostly land. So check this out right here. This is pretty interesting. Of course, the previous way we had this, these would have been just floating here, but the beard thin built this up around the village. This is pretty nice. This makes our village 10 times better. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the like button to let me know you enjoyed the video. Also, leave a comment letting me know what you thought. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.